I'm Nicole Murray Ramirez. I'm a city commissioner in the city of San Diego, and I'm the Queen Mother 1 of the Americas of the International Appeal Court System, United States, Canada, Mexico. I'm a queen. The queen. It's really funny. My father wanted me to become a congressman. Notice, not a councilman or super. My mother wanted me to become a cardinal, not a monk, not a priest, not even a nun. You know, this is what they wanted. So it got me instilled in that. So, and I started getting involved in politics. Like I said, my father founded the American GI Forum. And I knew something was different about me. And when I went, I would go every time. I would say probably it was 13, 14 when I first had my first homosexual act. Every time I did, I would run and have confession knock on, and the priest, I must have wore him out. I guess I was a little active. But I would go and confess that I had done this sin. And guess what? Years later, turned out he was gay and had these lawsuits against him. And all the altar boys, I was president of the altar boys, because I just couldn't be. So one time I tell people, I go, so the Monsignor that I went to confess with and would tell me how wrong it was to do these things was a homosexual himself. But I had heard years later, my mom showed me that, she'd go, I know why you're homosexual, because look, and there was paper, and there was a lawsuit settled with all the altar boys who served under me as president. So I told my friends, I go, I must have been an ugly kid, because he molested everyone except me, you know, probably because I was president of the altar boy. But anyway, so I knew I was different, and I was so guilt-ridden. I mean, really guilt-ridden. I felt very depressed, and also that I was really living a sinful lifestyle. So where did I do? Ran into Hollywood, ran away, kind of, went to Hollywood. And who was the first person I met in Hollywood? A transsexual. Oh, in those days, they were called transsexuals. She was a preoperative transsexual. And when I found out she was a boy, I was really, and I go, this is how the church can, in your mind, or how you, I thought, oh my God, if I turn into a woman, God won't hate me and he will forgive me because I'm not a homosexual man. So I started on hormones. I lived 5 years in Hollywood as a preoperative transsexual. And that, in the 60s, that was when, can you imagine, there were only 3 of us. And I got a lot of surgery, and surgery all over. But oh no, not down there. I hope there's still men interested in me. So I got all this surgery, and there were only 3 of us. Now there's 300,000 in Los Angeles. But I was considered a preoperative transsexual. In fact, these cheeks here are from Dr. Starks, who was Liberace's plastic surgeon. So needless to say, in Hollywood, I got involved in, it was sex, rock and roll, and drugs. And I had all 3. So, you know, it was terrible, the guilt. And as I proceeded to, in my preoperative, I lived for 5 years, 24/7 as a woman. And I took so many hormones and stuff. I had no hair, nowhere. And so I had a sugar daddy, to be honest, who was going to pay for the complete sex change. So the doctor thing, it was probably a day before I had my thing, and thank God for this doctor. And he wasn't Dr. Starks. He said, Nicole, I have to tell you something. And I go, what? And he goes, you're not a transgender, you're a homosexual. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, of the 3 of you, you're the only one that likes to use. And I've changed my name legally to Nicole Murray Ramirez. Now, I used to be known as Nicole Murray, and people said, weren't you, no, I promised my father. My father said, when he found out I was gay and an activist, and he goes, I don't want you to use our name. And I go, this is my name. He goes, I'm still, you know, involved, and I'm, in other words, he was embarrassed. So God bless him, my dad got Alzheimer's, so I told my mom, I'm going to use Ramirez. That's my name, and he won't know that I'm using it anyway. My mom goes, okay. So Murray was from a boyfriend I had. You got to remember this 60s, 70s. Las Vegas never asked too much ID. So Michael Murray and I went to Las Vegas and got married because they didn't ask, and that they didn't. The only one they knew ever heard of was Christine Jorgensen. So they didn't what they call clock me. So I got married and I became Nicole Murray, my husband's last name, who ended up in Folsom Prison. He was very butch, very butch. So Cesar Chavez parade in San Diego. The first one, Rachel Ortiz, another one, God bless her. She is like the madre of the Latinos. But she also, her and I are to this day are like this. So she announced that she was going to organize a parade, a Chavez parade. Now remember, we already had a gay parade. Gay parade was even before the Chavez parade. So we were good friends. She said, will you join the I'll go, oh, I'm honored. The first Chavez parade in San Diego was half fundraised by the gay community. I had all these fundraisers, and stuff was building bridges. And to this day, oh, wait till you need to hear this story. So we raised the money for the Chavez parade and stuff. Because, of course, I had worked and supported, as Harvey did, the Great Boycott. And here's a funny story. So, and I gave, the first award that Chavez ever got from the gay community, I presented it to him. So the pamphlet came out announcing the 25th anniversary of celebration of Stonewall 25 in New York. I had just gone over one of the marches, but the 87 march, I was on the national executive and they were picking speakers, Jesse Jackson. I go, well, what about a Latino speaker? And they go, who? Who's, and I go, Chavez. And they go, oh, everyone, he's not going to come. And even so I go, I can get him. One of my pride. So after they go, okay, get him. So I go back to my casa in San Diego, back and I'm going, oh my God. So I start talking to my Latino friends straight, and they go, oh, he's never going to go to no hotel parade, and are you crazy? So I called them, and I had met him before, and I go, Senor Chavez, we're having a march on Washington, gays and stuff. We're expecting, 100, because you got to remember, the biggest march was 87 because there was AIDS, and the quilt was there, and so I go, I really would like you to come and march and speak. So I was waiting for it. I will get it. He goes, of course, Nicole, I'll come. And I heard people in the background, no, Senor Chavez. He goes, I will come to the gay march. Can you imagine the people around him hearing Chavez go, yeah, Nicole, I'll come to the gay march. And I go, we'll fly you and everything. And he goes, no, I'll get there. So I immediately called. Remember, there's no internet. So, guess what? I don't think there was. I go, there's Senor Chavez is coming to our march and he's speaking. They went, what? Wow. So I was nervous and said, I should have known. So sure enough, fly to Washington. I'm dying with, I go, thank you so much. He goes, stop thanking me, but talk to me how. So, of course, I introduced them. But here's the story of Chavez that people need to know. They always told me, be in front of, I was in front of Coretta Scott King or Chavez. You knew you were in front of greatness. And girl, I have an ego. I'm sure it shocks your viewers, but it humbles you of Coretta's, Scott King's, and him. You just knew you were in front of greatness and practically saints. So, the March, 87 March, we must have had, people have said 1 million, probably 800,000. I mean, it was huge. And I remember the first time I walked up on the stage on the day of our rally, I just started crying because you could see miles and miles, and you see signs, Oklahoma, New Mexico. And I thought, there were a lot of Latinos. and a lot in Washington, you know, that were from South Salvador, Guatemala. So there's a lot of Latino. I go, wait till they, you know, because we hadn't even announced it yet. So he was wrecked. But I think anyone going up on that stage and seeing hundreds and hundreds of thousands, for him, he probably thought, look at these gays. I mean, anyone would have thought, what the hell are eight? We were fighting for our lives. It was, we were talking about funding and stuff. So, make a long story short, they introduced me and I go up and I go, and now I have the honor and pleasure of introducing Senor Cesar Chavez. And then I said, let's welcome him the correct way. And so we go, boycott grapes for it. And so hundreds of thousands, it's on video, I'm sure somewhere, were chanting, all these gringos, probably drinking wine and grapes, were chanting, boycott grapes. And probably half of them didn't even realize who was on that. That's our Martin Luther King, Senor Martin Luther King Chavez. So he went up there and gave such a moving speech. That's so interesting. Do you know of all my dogs, no one's ever asked me that? Isn't that strange? And they've done documentaries. How do I want people to remember me? I want them to remember me as a person who thought God didn't love him, who worked the streets, who got on drugs, but as decades followed and years, ended up from there to the White House, to a march and introducing Cesar Chavez in front of 800,000 people, that I'm an example that anyone can change their life, and that anyone can come out of darkness and see the light, that rainbow light that covers all of us, and that God does love you. And I want a big statue